Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. So today I'm just going to do a bit different video from what I usually do in terms of technical video. So in fact the reason is someone, Sheikh Budu on YouTube asked me if I could do some interview questions for a role in software development, and I think I can do it, but I want to do it a bit more generally as well, because I think this is a very important topic, and I wish at my time when I started my career or when I was still a junior developer there was some kind of guide like that, especially for Mauritius, because you have an endless amount of information online on Google. You just search and you'll get it, but for the context of Mauritius it's not clear enough. So today I've tried to do it, and bear with me, I have a large fun at home, and hopefully it's not making too much noise until I buy a better mic, and I maybe also have another fun that makes far less noise. So let's begin with it. So I actually made some notes on paper first when during breakfast, I think. So okay, at the same time I'm going to prepare this presentation, and maybe it can become useful. I can share it later. So let's begin. First, why this idea I just share with you, and then who am I? So I'm Abdallah. I've been working in the software industry for at least 10 years, and also I've been on both sides of the interview process over, I would say, dozens and dozens of times. So I know the process quite well. Sometimes I've just applied to job that I knew I couldn't get for the experience, and also to understand what the market is looking for. So let's begin with it. I divide this, so today I will do it as an introduction video, and I will be working on the inner game section. Well, inner game might mean a lot of things. I will get into it right now, but I think the inner game, the first part, the work work on yourself, self-work, is the most important part, because it will give you a clear idea. It might take some time for you, but I highly recommend that you do these exercises, because it will then give you a clear image, a clear idea of what you need to do next. It will be the foundation, and not only the foundation, but it will give you a clear idea to build a plan around that. So excuse me, I just drink some water. Maybe I should cut this, but I don't have time to edit the video. And I really enjoy talking just like that. And later maybe I will be also doing streaming when the time permits. So let's understand quickly how I am thinking of structuring this presentation, the few videos. So this is the most important one, the foundation. Then I will teach you how to search for jobs. The best way, I think, it's not the best way overall, but I think this is one of the most efficient way I've done it, and it's going to help for sure. Then the applying phase, how do you apply, and the general interview process, and how to abide or how to do the technical interview. I mean, by doing how to prepare yourself. So it's basically preparation step. I don't know how to put it right now, but let's just go on the most important part. I would say the fundamental part is, okay, so how do you get, so I might think of basically what you understand is to understand what you want. So yeah, what you want, what you're good at, and what the market is. I'm just going to put it briefly. So what the first thing, your interest, and I will use an example of myself. So you can think of things you are naturally good with, and second, problems that you enjoy solving. I know many people might think that, yeah, we don't like problems, but hey, problems is the stuff, the thing, the opportunity that helps us grow and also make money. Problems that you enjoy solving, also I would say situation you don't like, yeah, situations or problems, situation or problems you don't enjoy, and I would say even the contrary you dislike. I will give a few examples in a moment. Wow, I think this slide will not be enough. Your interests, things you're naturally good with, problems that you enjoy solving, situation, problems you dislike. Everything is important, but then we have the most important part is, this is especially true when you're, I would say, like you've not reached senior level. This is the most important part. What the market needs. This is the most important part, and I will come to this in a few moments. So your interest, let's say you like coding, you like programming. Coding, programming, I don't know, I'm not sure if it's, yeah, you can see the font, it's big enough. You like programming, you like gaming, you have certain interests. General, let's first take the general interest. General interest, you like gaming, hike. So this is just an example, and you like watching anime, for example. And I think these are very important. You can like consider it as hobbies as well, your hobbies. And why I think it's extremely important, so I might come to this later on, but this gives you a good incentive for building a portfolio. So it's something that it in itself deserves a whole slide. So what you do is to start working on your inner game, yourself. So inner game is a term that comes from the sales community. People before they so I was at one point of my career, of my life, I was a salesman. Why I became a salesman, it was around that time just before university, and it was multiple reasons, but the most important one was to talk to people, to develop the ability to talk as well, to have conversations, talk in front of people, and so on and so forth. That's why you see me nowadays so comfortable talking to people. It's like I don't even, public speaking comes so naturally for me. It's because I actually, around the time, I committed to a job that I had no other excuse. I had to do it. I mean, the job, I had to do it, and this is one of the most important lessons I've learned. I've learned it by senior colleagues, but also by reading, is the inner game part. And the inner game is all about knowing. It's like your building your own confidence, knowing what you want to do, and where the direction you want to go, and of course having a plan. And there are other things like visualization and so many things that you can learn from self-help books. But the core here with inner game is knowing, is building this confidence, knowing in which direction you go. And I will teach you briefly right now, because subject itself, I can talk about it for hours to get into depth. So this is important. Now, as important is also your programming in terms of your work interests. What interests you? For example, I will go a bit more into details. For example, you are interested in web development. You are interested in coding itself, programming, and some language maybe you've seen on YouTube, you have been exposed to it some way or the other. You want to do some C#, let's say, or you want to do JavaScript, maybe let's say front-end development. You see it's very interesting, and you want to, this is something that interests you basically. Now let's go to when you're doing your own exercise right now, you do the same. You don't need to limit yourself. Please don't limit yourself. This is important because it will help you reflect, discover certain paths that otherwise You won't see things you're naturally good at. Yeah. Maybe talking, public speaking. Let's see, problem solving, mathematics, science, things like that. You're talking problems, puzzle. You think you're by naturally good. I don't mean that you've developed the skills that you have these skills when you were born. No, not that at all. But rather, what I'm thinking, what I am alluding to is that some ways, or naturally maybe, because I know a couple of people who were, I know them since childhood, and they were very good speakers, they were natural speakers. But I think this was because early on in their childhood they had the experience of talking or of communicating with other people. Like most of us, we go to school. The two of them, I think they started working with their parents very early on, so naturally they build this public speaking skill, talking skills, communications, conversational skills. So that's what I'm trying to say right now. Another, like, you might be good with this because this is your strength. So the game itself is loosely based on SWOT analysis, your strength, weakness, opportunities, threats. But it's not only that. It's not only that, because we are going to tackle. Yeah, it's inspired from that. It's based on that. But there are also this one, which is very important. I will not show you directly, but because it changed. To be honest, it's changed. I'll come back into this part in a few minutes. So you do this. You think things that you're pretty good with. Also, maybe you get the idea. We won't lose too much time. Problems that you enjoy solving. This is very important because you are going to spend the majority of your life solving the problem at work. Work is basically problem solving and thinking as well. So it's best to do something that you enjoy, but it might be possible that it doesn't occur. But it doesn't matter. At this point, you need to understand what the type of problems you enjoy solving. For me, for example, it's programming. I enjoy solving it's a puzzle, but generally, I will start with the general phase. The type of problem that I enjoy is programming. I enjoy just only that, writing, emails, communication, anything that involves writing, programming. I like doing it. Let's say, for example, there are some issues somewhere and we need to write an email, so it's something I can do naturally. I would say naturally as well. Writing, actually, I've developed this skill, writing skill, through a lot of work, through years. Took me years and years to improve my writing skills. Nowadays we have generative AI, ChatGPT, Bard, etc. But I think to develop it naturally, organically, like we say, it takes a lot of time, and this is something that I now enjoy. I can write a blog post, a readable blog post, not a super hit one, because this requires quite some marketing and building an audience already. But I can do all of that in 30 minutes and enjoy the process, and that's important. Writing, email, communication, generally speaking. And I would say I learn also, I enjoy learning about stuff, like for example e-commerce systems, e-commerce, how it works, distribution, like logistic, different things. It's important. I really like about something like entrepreneurship. This is for me. I'm just taking an example for me. So you do the same with exercises. Oh, I think the font is becoming too small. Now, let's continue. Situation problems you dislike. Like for me, I will give some example for you can understand. Generally speaking, and both generally start with the general part, and then you go deep into the I'm sorry, the work aspect. For example, for me, I don't really like being the sun because it tires my eyes and my skin as well. And the summer is super hot. And I I like interacting with people as well, interacting with people. So this, if you're an introvert, I don't think you will like this, but this is a very important topic. Maybe I will tackle it in another video someday, or in a book, or in a blog post. Networking, I think, is the most important part of success, because no man is an island. You cannot succeed by yourself. You need to people, and this context is very important. It's also related to its who, not how. Something that's tremendously important. I'll come back to that maybe here or later. Here itself, and I mean during this context, because sometimes you apply to works on official website on LinkedIn, and we don't hear anything. And this happened to me a few times. So what I did was to know the HR, to look for him or her, and then have a contact and contact him or her directly. So it's who, not how. I don't like working with my hands. I don't like works such as plumbing. I can do it, but the very, very basic one. Plumbing. Painting, things like I really don't like painting, like manual work. I'm not only not good at, I'm bad with the job, but I don't enjoy it as well. So it's important to put that, because we are going to compare each of them. Now the most important part of this is what the market needs. Let's say I'm very interested in gaming, generally speaking, but in Mauritius especially, how do you make an income with gaming? It's not easy unless you are exceptionally good. There's something that we say, don't do what you love. I know. You might hear the contrary all the time. You might hear that, yes, do what you love, do the job you love, and you will never have to work another day in your life. But is it true? It's not true unless you're exceptionally good, because most of us, we love doing things we love, right? And that being said, since this is the case, many of us will do the same, and there will be a lot of competition. So how do you make money with that? I will take an example very quickly. Let's say gaming. I love gaming. I don't do it nowadays because it takes too much time. And I know some professional gamers in Mauritius, but I don't think it's their full-time income. I'm not sure. I need to talk with them one day to confirm that. But imagine I want to start gaming from zero. I need to build an audience, and if I'm going to build an audience internationally, there is already a huge market for that. It's almost impossible. Therefore, I need to target the Mauritian audience first. And now it's easier, but even in Mauritius there are already people doing that, and I need a plan. So all of that takes a lot of work, a lot of time. I'm not sure if I'm going to get any income. So it's not worth doing what you love. Even as a job. Let's say as a job, for me, for example, I always like simple programming languages, like easy stuff, and I don't like thinking too hard about things that could be simple. For example, my monolithic versus microservices, which is basically part of distributed architecture, so it's distributed. I have the opportunity to work on both a lot of times, and what I can certainly say is microservices, unless we are talking about small projects that people don't use, but on real projects with thousands of customers, of actual users, microservices is extremely complex, and you need a certain level of maturity of experience to even understand that. So for me, I prefer going in the monolithic way. But what happens if the market chooses microservices? On the market there is a demand for microservices. I go to the microservice part. So that's what you need. Now I will show you how I think is the best way to understand the market needs, what is in demand the market, and the key point here is this keeps changing. I won't say every day, of course not every year as well, but every 2 to 3 years there are trends. There are actual trends that you need to be aware of. Because if you do that, then searching for a work for your next jobs won't be hard. It will actually be very easy, in my opinion. Not very easy, but you will have all the data here and you know how to proceed, and you actually can build your plan from that. So let me give you an example right now on the market. What's really killing? So on the corporate side, you have Angular, C#, .NET basically, in terms of web development. Otherwise, you have React that is dominating the front-end world, and what is very strange with the Mauritian market. So I have the interest of studying jobs. Maybe it's because LinkedIn just loves sending me jobs emails, so sometimes I'm just tempted to open and see what's trending in Mauritius. And I've been doing this for so many years as well. I've been helping friends, I've been mentoring other people as well on getting jobs, so I have this keen interest of studying the market. And right now what I can tell you is Angular, C#, .NET on the corporate world, and then on the smaller companies you have React that is completely dominating the front end. But in Mauritius it's a bit of a delay, because this same phenomenon happened like 5 years ago in the world, in the international market. React was killing everywhere, especially Next, when it was revealed Next from Vercel, Next.js. So in Mauritius right now React is dominating, and it's pretty much this. You also have Angular as well, and then you have PHP has always been in demand, especially Symfony, but I've also seen company looking on recruiting Laravel, so it can be a good thing. And now I will show you how I get such data, how it happens. So what you need to do as an exercise is this. You go on LinkedIn job, you have a spreadsheet. In the spreadsheet you write down the jobs, the technologies. Don't need to write like something professional, no, just write down the job title, maybe, the job title, the company, but as important, the keywords, the technologies they want. Like you do that for LinkedIn, you do that for my job, you do that for Google Jobs and many other platforms in Mauritius. Take your time, do it, prepare this, because it's going to be very, very useful. Why? One of the reasons is the famous interview questions. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Why? I can remember if any company that I had an interview with, the HR didn't ask me this question, not even HR, but the director, or because I also had the opportunity to apply to interview with startups and even international companies as well. And something that really vibrates with them is I've also interviewed people, a lot of people, but I didn't really ask this question like that. I didn't frame it like the HR would normally do. Where do you see yourself in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? No, this is more of a HR thing. But I've asked them what's the plan, because you need a plan to succeed in life. You need a plan. Because if you don't have a plan, plan to fail, my friend. I remember my college teacher told us this, and I didn't listen to him. Like most teenagers, I didn't listen to him at the time, but later I realized how important a plan, having a plan is basically what we are doing right now. It's creating the plan, the foundation to the plan. So you do that. There are lots of platforms in Mauritius, like I can think of half a dozen right now about what I've written. You do that, you compile a spreadsheet, or if you're feeling a bit lazy, you can just do it on a text editor. This will give you a clear view of the technologies that we want. But don't stop right now, because Mauritius, we follow the Western or European trends, technological, but also educational trends. So don't limit yourself to that. What you want to do is to also go on Google Trends, for example. You can do it from Mauritius as well. But of course, refer to technologies, and don't do the same for the international market. What is killing right now? For example, what I can tell you, on the international market you have Tailwind CSS. Well, the font is even smaller. Tailwind CSS is really good. It has a lot of hype, but I've used it. It's quite good, to be honest, especially on side projects. And it's a bit different from Material, from Bootstrap, so you can do it. You have other technologies like still React, Remix, for example. Next, so let's, for example, you have Rust. You have new technologies coming up, so you can study the trends. But I won't recommend you jump onto it right now. This will actually give you an insight of what is going to happen next, what is going to trend to will be present in Mauritius, you can say in a few years, so you can prepare yourself. I will give you a concrete example. So I think a couple years ago, around the time of COVID, there was Flutter, a Google framework for developing web, mobile, IoT devices using a single framework. It was all rage, and it was of course backed by Google, so it was a bit successful. I won't say utterly successful, but it built a community, and from that there was a lot of hype for sure. And I know a couple of guys on LinkedIn, I don't know them personally, they jumped into the hype, and nowadays, like, if you're looking for a Flutter, even a mobile developer, it's still super rare. 10 years ago, when I started my career, mobile development was a dime a dozen. I don't even remember if there was anyone doing it, except a few iOS, and I know that MCB Digital Factory, MCB did it. I don't know if the Digital Factory department was already existed at the time, but I know a few people did it. I think it didn't exist at the time because I had a friend who shared this story because he was there before. So you can already see the trends coming to Mauritius, and it will eventually come to Mauritius. It will take a lot of time because in Mauritius the core business is outsourcing and like ERP. In technological perspective, it's ERP mostly, and C#, like corporate enterprise development. So you do that, you know exactly once you do that, you will know what you like. You like working for strong type programming language. Let's say things you're naturally good at, good with, problems that you enjoy solving, and it goes even more important things you don't like. Let's say you don't like talking to people. It's very normal, talking to people. So right now you know that customer service is not something you're particularly fond of, and you know when you're going to do your checklist, and tomorrow let's say you have dozens of companies you want. The aim of all of that is, of course, where do I write that? I don't know. The aim of all that is to whitelist, or not whitelist, but to bookmark or shortlist 3 companies, let's say 3 companies, and from that you will know what you to arrive to this number you have. Let's say you start with the more companies you have, the better it is, because you won't have, like, there are always constraints, there is always a balance, and this is where you need to choose. You need to choose in terms of trade-off. So you don't like talking to people, you won't really like doing customer service, support engineering, for example. You don't really like reading, let's say, it's totally normal. Reading and researching, and I'm not sure if you don't like doing that. I'm not sure you will enjoy doing DevOps, for example, because you need to do a lot of DevOps. It's not easy. It's like you need to be good in a lot of things, and you need to learn, for example, Docker, how to write Docker files. You need to understand CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous development. So it's a lot of work, a lot of research. You need to read a lot. You need to watch a lot of videos and courses. So maybe you're not too interested in that. You don't like thinking too much. I know people who, well, it's normal because there were studies that were done in America decades ago, and after deaf people, no, it's not deaf. The number one thing people didn't like doing is thinking. They avoided thinking at all costs. They even were ready to believe in lies as long as they didn't have to think for themselves. So it's normal. And if you don't like thinking too much, I would say that many problems that you're going to encounter in the professional life is that someone is just taking this thinking part and giving it to you. Like if you're a junior developer, senior developer will maybe analyze the job, give you a solution, but the implementation part, it's you to do, and you will need to think how to implement it, of course. And we go up the ladder. You have when you arrive, you're working in enterprise, and they have a epic vision where the company wants to go, and then in terms of architecture, you need to think how to implement it in the current architecture, and how to break the work down. It's a lot of thinking work. So if you don't like that, maybe programming, high level programming, problem solving, and its application in development and programming, it's not something maybe you like, but trust me, it's not that difficult if you know how to read, to code, if you know some mathematics, some problem solving, some how to write algorithm, how to think, deductive thinking, and so on and so forth. So it's not difficult. You just need to sit down and, like you did in college, sit down and commit the time, and you can do it. But this gives you a general idea of things you don't like, and you can then shortlist. You have a job. The job says that you need to talk to people. Let's say you have two jobs you've shortlist. One is both are, let's say you are interested in Angular and C#, .NET, both of them. But then one is more into C# and you want to do more front-end development. And of course, you know, like right now that you are more interested, both are in demand on the market, but you prefer doing front-end, and here you go. It's much easier to choose once you've gone through that. And let's say for one of them, let's say you don't like at all to work on computer. I had a friend who told me frankly this, because I was surprised that he studied a degree in computer science or something like that, maybe information systems, and then he just changed. He opened his own business, or I can't remember exactly what he did first, but he went away from that because he told me that the situation that he didn't like was sitting in front of a computer or a laptop or a machine the whole day. This was something he didn't see himself doing for most of his life. So that might be true as well for you. I know people like that. I know relatives who are like that, and this is normal. This is our unique human nature. But in the tech world, what's interesting is that this does not limit you. Of course, it's a trade-off, but you have other choices. Like you can do salesman, you can sell a computer solution, and trust me, it's high paying as well. It's not only developer who get a major cut, it's sales people as well as DevOps, because at the end of the day, especially in the world of ERP and enterprise software, we are talking millions of dollars, let alone Mauritian rupees. So if you are able to sell one of those solutions, you represent your company or you have your own company tomorrow, you're going to get a commission, and trust me, it won't be peanuts, it will be huge commission. And I personally know someone who did it, and I think he started his own company later, and I can tell you that, of course, now it pays well, but now on the other side, if you're an introvert, you can't do it. I mean, you won't enjoy it. That's why this is the most important part of preparing an interview. It's basically career counseling, and not only career counseling, it's everything right now in terms of what you're going to do. And I wish at the time when I started my career, or even earlier when I was still at university, or why not at college, someone came and told me all of that. Well, you can also write here. Maybe the aim, I will write the aim here is to, let me just finish the first part with this, is to shortlist few companies and focus on few opportunities, because doing that will have foremost, you will prepare better in this, you will become better. I will share my tips and tricks later, like for example one is building a portfolio, and this is related to, as I explained, your hobbies. This will help you get, I will also talk about internal motivation versus external motivation, because trust me, learning a new technology that is very complex, it's not easy. At some point even more money won't help you, because if you're already working, you're already tired, and how do you motivate yourself? So having hobbies is extremely important, because this is how you do it. Well, I'm thinking of something else. Focus on a few opportunities, get good at a handful of stuff rather than trying general thing. And because if I will take the example, if you let's say you want to buy a car, where will you go and buy the car? To a car vendor or to a vehicle vendor, someone who sells a lot of different types of vehicles, including cars, or a company that sells only cars? The answer is obvious, because first and foremost, it's too many information, it's too general, and they won't be able to help you as well as the only one who specializes in it. And of course, well, I can't talk too much on this subject, but the reality is, at first, especially early on your career, you want to become good only at one or two things at first, but eventually your aim is to become like a full stack developer. You understand the whole process, but at first, if you don't have a lot of experience, it's going to be very hard. Rather just learn one thing, for example, front end well, then you learn a bit of backend. When I say backend, it's really database and integration with third parties, like for example Shopify and Stripe or payment solutions, so on and so forth. So that's it, I think. That's it, I think, for the first part, which is the self-work, the research, like in a game, like we say. Yeah, when I say in a game, this will also build confidence. You need to build this confidence. It's very important, because I've interviewed a lot of candidates, and even candidates that were my senior in the sense, but they were switching technologies from an old technology to a new one, and always the difference maker I found was, for me, it was how confident this person is. Despite being introvert or timid, this doesn't matter. If you know that someone is confident when you talk to him, so there is a bigger chance that this person can deliver. Otherwise, if someone is not confident enough, maybe he or she is hiding something. So immediately, just by your posture, vocal intonation, and like general vibe, you can see that this person, if you're too timid, If you lack this confidence, it will play against you. That's for sure. I've seen it a lot of times, and I've actually got jobs that are applied that I'm not qualified for, but I prepare well, I was confident, and I got the job. So confidence is very important, and along the way I will share my tips to build this confidence. It's not straight away, it's not easy enough to, if you don't know, for example, you learn technology you don't know at all, there are some tricks to do it, to learn it quicker, especially in the context of interview. And I will share my tips that I've developed throughout the years from my own experience, from the experience of other people, and of course from what I've read in terms of marketing, in terms of HR, the psychology, the mindset. It's all in this. Okay, so second point, I'm just going to write it, is how to search for your jobs. Yeah. So I'll see you later. I'll catch you later.